This Road to Prosperity video is sponsored by Vandergraaf, the leader in the design and manufacturing of high-quality, premium efficiency conveyor belt drives. The Grizzly Drive drum motor is built to operate in harsh, dusty, abrasive, and extreme environments where performance and durability matter most.
How do you anticipate this upcoming election and other ongoing global events to affect construction the rest of the year? What are you seeing as far as current supply chain or lead time impacts? And, how is an administration change come November and I guess effectively January going to affect the industry next year?
Listen, I think obviously our attention and the world's attention is on the election, right? But when you look at the data, this is what we cling to, right? When you look at the data, and we've done this analysis going back to federal elections starting in 1967, it's just not a needle mover. It isn't, not in the building market especially. If you think about it, all presidential candidates have platforms that they espouse, right? But we need to remember Congress needs to approve it. So it's not just about the president, it's about what that makeup of Congress is as well. So in terms of what could move the needle from an election standpoint when it comes to resi and non-resi buildings, it's really state and local, right? It's state and local elections that are approving bond measures, tax incentives, zoning changes that all incentivize construction. So if we want to pay attention to elections and how they impact, you really got to go local, local, local. The one difference to that would be federal spending on infrastructure, right? That is president and that is Congress that dictates that. Good news there, we were just chatting about it. Those IJA funds are in the system. The infrastructure law was broadly bipartisan, or at least relative to today's standards of what bipartisan means. And I don't think there's really any real risk of those funds being repealed or changed at all, even if the administration and Congress, I think those laws, I think those monies are pretty safe. So long story short, I just don't think the federal election's a real needle mover. It is psychologically, I think, and maybe people are sitting and waiting, but they're probably waiting more to see what the Fed's going to do and say rather than what's going to happen in early November with the election. In terms of geopolitical, I guess when I look at the world, right, that geopolitical risk is certainly enhanced, and certainly what worries us is the Middle East. And if that conflict were to become larger and more countries become involved in that, would we see a run up in oil prices? And if oil prices were higher consistently, that could certainly harm consumer spending, potentially pushing the U.S. economy into recession. And I guess the other side of that is it would probably push the Fed into moving a lot sooner rather than later, a lot more aggressively in interest rates.
Thank you to Vandergraaf for sponsoring this Road to Prosperity video. Visit vandergraaf.com to discover the cost-saving and safety benefits of the innovative Grizzly Drive drum motor. Learn how the Grizzly Drive reduces maintenance costs while delivering reliability and longevity for belt conveyors operating in the harshest of environments.